Hello and welcome to today's video. Welcome to Ica, a city that is rather small with 300,000 inhabitants, and that is known for one specific reason. Most people actually come here to get to know the Oasis of America, that is also known as Huacachina. But is it actually worth it to come here to Ica just to see that oasis? Well, we are going to see that and evaluate it later on in this video. Let's start today's tour here in the center, in the heart of Ica at the Plaza de Armas. The Plaza de Armas is kind of like all of the other Plaza de Armas that we have already seen here in Peru. It has an obelisk here in the center, and then here behind me there is a cathedral that looks rather abandoned. But besides that, it is a beautiful square, lots of traffic here in the area, and also a lot of restaurants and bars as always. And also you can book a lot of tours here from this area. Now, most people here actually live from tourism. It is a quite touristic place. I've mentioned that before. A lot of people come here to get to know the Oasis of America, and that is something that we are also going to see in the afternoon. Here in the city center of Ica, you can also see the colonial architecture that is so typical here in cities in Latin America, especially in Peru. I think in all of them we have seen the architecture was quite similar with the Plaza de Armas in the center, the colonial architecture, a church, a cathedral that is in front of the Plaza de Armas. So Ica is not an exception of that. The Plaza de Armas is the typical starting point for a lot of tours. We are going to get picked up here in the afternoon, and then we will explore the desert and go on a desert adventure. Now here I am in the desert in Huacachina. I just arrived at the entrance basically of the oasis. There you have to pay an entrance fee of 3 soles and 60. It's actually not an entrance fee, it is a tax that you have to pay. It's not a lot, it is less than $1, so it's actually fine. And I am about to start my desert adventure. You can already see this huge and immense dune, absolutely insane. I've seen pictures of it, but I wasn't expecting it to be that huge actually. It's impressive. It is a little bit cloudy now, which is actually good. That is also why they do the tours in the afternoon, because during the day, also still right now, it is super hot. Here in Ica, it is in the desert, so I mean, of course it's hot. The sun is burning, and also during the day, the sun is burning on the sand. And since we are going to do a tour through the desert, and also we want to do some sandboarding here, obviously, with the sun burning on the sand, this might be a little bit painful. So they usually do the tours in the afternoon. Now it's a bit cloudy. It feels way better than earlier today. And also the sun is not going to burn that badly. So I'm excited for the tour. Honestly, it is not as easy to walk here. It is a bit exhausting. And you notice that this is a very touristic place. We then jumped on one of those cars that they call boogies and started a tour through the desert that was way more scary than I had expected it to be. Okay, we didn't go that far yet, but that was already quite an adventure, to be honest. I wasn't expecting it to be that crazy. Probably the camera cannot catch the image how it is in reality, but we were like driving through curves and also through slopes that were like almost 90 degrees angle, so kind of crazy, but that was fun. And we are now at a place where we can actually do some sandboarding. There are already people going down there, and we are next. Also, I highly recommend you to bring some glasses, because obviously we are in the desert, it is sandy here, extremely sandy, and well, you gotta need some protection for your eyes, that's for sure. And also I'm already full of sand. I used sunscreen before, and now the sand is sticking on my skin actually. But anyway, I'm excited for the sandboarding. Alright, that was my first try, and I did have a small accident. But anyway, it was fun. It is actually super high, that dune, and well, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm now fully covered in sand. Okay, well, that was an adventure. That was kind of crazy. The car was like going down the hill, sometimes almost at an angle of 90 degrees. Seriously, this was insane. At some parts I felt like it's not going to end well, but it did. The driver obviously knew exactly what he was doing. We did some sandboarding twice actually. Both times I did have an accident. I guess I'm not the best at it, but anyway, it was fun. I am completely covered in sand and clearly in need of a shower. But anyway, we are now here at the viewpoint of the Oasis Huacachina. The view is super beautiful and impressive. There are a lot of people here. It is the most touristic place here of the area of Ica and the place why people actually come to Ica. This oasis is actually natural. There are several of these oases here in the area of Ica, but all of them are dry except for this one, Huacachina. Even though it is natural, it does need a helping hand of some people that live here because otherwise it would probably dry out. They give the oasis water frequently. So it is a natural oasis with a little helping hand. Now let me give you my opinion about whether it is actually worth it to come to Ica for the oasis, for this desert adventure or not. This tour here took us 1 hour, and even though it was super fun, like seriously full of adrenaline, this was a unique adventure, something I've never done before. The views are impressive and it was so much fun. But it only took 1 hour, and I honestly would say it is not worth to come here to Ica only for this tour or only to enjoy this view and that's it. But there is more to Ica than just the desert, and I feel like people are always talking about Huacachina and that's it. But there's so much more here in the area of Ica that is worth a visit, and I'm going to show you that tomorrow, because tomorrow we will go on another tour. I will show you the coast of the area here. We will drive about 1 hour with a car towards the coast, and then we will get a boat tour. We will see beautiful islands, a natural reserve and really nice beaches. So hang on with me because I am going to show you way more things that you can do here in the area of Ica. Hello and welcome to Paracas, a city that is 1 hour away from Ica, so not too far. We just drove here in a minivan and we are about to embark one of those boats that you can see here behind me and go to the Islas Bellestas that are near to Paracas, and also later on we will go to a natural reserve that is a very important place here of the region of Paracas. Paracas is quite a touristic city. You can notice that here at the harbor there are a lot of people. And well, I am going on a boat tour now. It'll take about 2 hours, that tour, and we will see a beautiful scenery with the wildlife of this area, which is quite unique. I'm excited for that. It was a little bit difficult to film on the boat. There were people sitting behind me and I didn't want them to be in that video without asking them for permission. So I'm going to explain you now that we are back at the harbor of Paracas what we've actually seen and what I've learned. Shortly after leaving the harbor of Paracas, we reached a place that they call Candelabro, which is a huge hieroglyph that is carved into a rock formation. Actually, that rock looks like a dune, but it's not. It is a rock formation, and there are various stories about why this hieroglyph is in that rock. One of them saying that it has been made by indigenous people, another one saying that it used to be kind of like a lighthouse for fishermen or an orientation point for fishermen, and another one that says that pirates have created this hieroglyph to mark the place where they kept their treasuries. But the real origin of it is unknown. These are all just theories. And then we continued the tour to the islands Bellestas, and those are rocks in the middle of the sea where you can see a lot of wildlife, like a lot of birds and even seals. We've seen a few beaches or rock formations where some seals were sleeping and taking their nap. The rock formations are completely white. You can see that the peaks are completely covered by white stuff that is actually called by locals guano. And guano, well, what it actually is it's poop. It's poop made by the birds that are here in the region. And that poop is actually being taken off the rocks every 7 years, and it is being sold and exported and being used for agriculture. It is fertilizer basically for the agriculture. For me, this tour was very interesting. I've learned a lot of things about the region, and it was super cute to see all these animals there. Although they told me that there are islands that are further away from the land here, where you can find even more animals. Obviously, there are no tourists coming there, and therefore the animals can live there more calmly. Now we are going to continue our tour. We are moving on to the natural reserve of Paracas. We are now at the first stop of the natural reserve, and as you can see here behind me, basically this reserve is pure desert. There is nothing, no one lives here. This is a protected area. It is being protected for the birds that live here in the region. There are lots of them. There are also about 1,500 species here in this area of this natural reserve. And that is why it is a very protected area. Now here behind me you can see the red beach, they call it Playa Roja, and that is because of the sand that you can see here that is kind of reddish. That's because of minerals that are in the ground. The rocks, they come from volcanic activities. Now this whole natural reserve, it used to be sea. There used to be water everywhere here in this area. Not like in Ica where we were seeing the huge sand dunes. That doesn't exist here. All of this ground here is not soft or anything. It is not really sandy. It is the ground of the sea. I am now walking down a beach, and they say this is the most beautiful beach here of this area in the natural reserve. And it is also one of the only ones where you can actually swim, because most of the beaches are protected and it is not allowed to swim there. But here it actually is, and you notice because it is quite crowded. Even though the beach was really nice, the water crystal clear, in my opinion it was way too crowded to really enjoy it. But in the area were some very good restaurants, and I had a very delicious ceviche. And now it is time to re-evaluate my question from earlier today. Is it actually worth to come to Ica? Is Ica worth the hype or not? Well, I told you before, if you just want to go to Huacachina, to be honest, I don't think it is worth it, and that opinion did not change. But obviously there's so much more to do here in the area, such as Paracas, for example, with the boat tour that was actually very fun and also very interesting. I learned some new things and I heard a few things that I've never heard before, so I found that very interesting. And also the tour through the natural reserve is quite unique. So both Ica and Paracas are at least the two things that you should do. There's also a wine tour that you can do. Actually, this area here of Peru is famous for its wine and its drinks, so if you're into that, make sure to also check out something like that. If you do more than only Huacachina, yes, it is worth to come to Ica. Anyway, I enjoyed my time here in Ica, and I hope you enjoyed today's video as well. If you did, make sure to support my work, drop me a thumbs up, and I am not yet done with my tour through Peru, so make sure to subscribe to my channel to not miss out on any further adventures here in Peru. I will see you hopefully in the next video.